Dal Reeder is going to speak a little bit about helping us view the world through a different set of eyes. He has a metaphor that he'd like to share with us that will help us understand a little bit better, I think. So, thank you, everybody, and please start.
Hi, I'm on the autism spectrum. I have Asperger's, and I grew up not knowing it, and I was in my early 40s when I was diagnosed. So what I thought I had was just depression and anxiety and various other problems, and it was not really what I had wasn't really known at the time. I used to be, I've been active with Red River Valley Asperger for quite a while. I haven't been so much in the last few years because I've been doing something else. I've been writing, specifically science fiction, superhero science fiction. I'm not published yet because, well, the main reason is that writing is a skill I'm good at. Becoming a published author, that's running a small business, and that's a different set of skills. So, hopefully someday. But one of the things I do when writing science fiction is, you look at strange things, strange worlds, strange creatures, whatever. And then you think about, okay, well, what are the consequences of this? How does this work? What are the things that people would find interesting about this different thing? And in my latest book, I have these aliens, and they look kind of like, miniature Godzilla. They're lizard aliens. They're interacting with the humans that come to Earth. And there was one little detail about them. They're nice people. You can talk to them. They laugh. And they have tails. And, I started thinking about, what happens when you have an intelligent species that has a tail? And, you've seen dogs and cats with their tails. And the tails, they don't have too much of an obvious function other than, cats use them for balance. But one thing they really use their tails for is conveying their emotional state and communication. You can tell a lot about a cat or a dog from, what it's doing with its tail. And I thought about what would happen with an intelligent species that has tails. They'd use it for social signaling and all kinds of stuff, right? And then I thought of a metaphor for being on the spectrum. And I'd like you to imagine for a minute, imagine a world. It's a lot like our world. And it's got these aliens on it. And these aliens look just like humans, except they have tails. And, they all have tails. They're used to them. They use tails every day for communication and everything else. Now, imagine you're born on this world, except you're human. You might think, you don't have a tail. That's going to be a handicap. But in some ways it's better than that. In some ways it's worse. You do have a tail, but you don't know how to use it. The part of your brain that the aliens have that does all the connections to the tail tells you how to move it, how to integrate it with the rest of your body language, with how to communicate. That part's missing because you're human. You're not an alien. Humans don't come with the software for a tail operation. Now, when you're little, this isn't a big deal because nobody expects a baby to know how to use a tail, to hold their tail right. But then people start noticing he's holding his tail funny and he doesn't seem to be able to pick up on tail signals like everybody else does. Couldn't he tell I was angry? I was holding my tail in the angry posture, well, what's wrong? And then you're going, what? You're doing something with your tail. Okay, I guess it's important. Don't you hold your tail at me like that, young man. What was I doing? I wasn't holding it any particular way. So, but you quickly learn that, okay, this is important. How you hold your tail is important, but it's not automatic. You don't get the automatic feedback and learning that all the aliens with tails do, because that part of your brain is not connected to, that it was missing or not connected to the tail. So you're trying to communicate in a mode that's not natural to you, because you don't have a tail. Or you don't have the tail software in your mind. So you have to learn to fake it. And some parts sort of work. You get some parts sort of make sense. Okay, well, so holding the tail up most of the time means you're happy. Okay, I figured that out. So you're gonna go, okay, you know, in a situation, you hold the tail up. Except sometimes it means you're angry, and sometimes it means you're being disrespectful. And then one day you get, things are going well at school, and you get chastised and you're in the principal's office, and a note gets sent to your parents for being, holding your tail disrespectfully to a teacher. Yeah, okay, well that doesn't work, okay? So you learn that, okay, this tail thing is really important. So you have to spend a lot of time and energy figuring out, okay, how do I hold my tail? How do other people do it? And you study how everyone else holds their tail. And it's not consistent. It's not consistent at all. I mean, some of them use it for this thing, and some of them use it for other thing, and there's a lot of people who say, oh, you just do it, you pick it up after a while, you know, tail stuff's natural, right? You know, you'll learn, and it's hard. It takes time, it takes energy. And you start going, well, okay, you know, whenever you're out in public, whenever you're interacting with other people, these nice people, they're aliens, but they're a lot like humans, they just have tails, and they all think it's all natural. You know, you do the best you can. And everything's going along, and then you get to your teen years, and you find out tails are used for sexual signaling. And you go, oh, great. Okay, well, okay, so what does it mean when you do this? And you get contradictory information. And the only thing everybody agrees on is, oh, well, you can't be direct about it. That's crude. You have to be subtle. Yeah, and you have to pick up on these subtle clues on what's interested or not. And then, okay, you start to learn that, and then you find out that it changes based on fashion. You know, what was worked for you? Ask your parents, you know, what was there? Well, when I was a boy, you know, you held your tail this way and everything like that. Then you try that and you find out and you get laughed at and said, oh, that's dad tail. Yeah, no. Yeah. People don't use that anymore. So you navigate this and you get to adulthood. And maybe there's some things you're good at, maybe not. But you gradually get to the point where, you know, okay, well, I can fake tail most of the time. And then there are people, there's other aliens, there are people who have lost their tails. I mean, and people recognize, okay, they have a handicap. But you look around, it's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, you've got your tail, everything's fine. And you might be fine most of the time, and you're going, okay, I know how to hold my tail. I'm watching around, I'm watching how everybody's holding their tail, so now I can figure out what's going on. But it's extra work all the time. It's extra attention, it's extra stress. And sometimes you avoid stuff just because you don't want to have to worry about how you're holding your tail and figuring out what everybody's doing with their tail, because that's too much work. I think you see the metaphor here? That's what it's like being on the spectrum. You're always worried about how you're holding your tail. And one of the funny things about it is, they think these things have names. The alien comes up with a name for it. This is tail function disorder, TFD. Yeah, I've got TFD. And they say, well, okay, the TFD, well, obviously this is a handicap. Well, let's just put all people with TFD in one room and they'll get along, right? They're all TFD. Well, they're all humans. Yeah, they'll all get along. All humans can get along, right? Well, maybe. The adaptions to the tail not working, I mean, they're all different. People are using whatever strength they have to adapt. So sometimes they get along because they all have TFD. Sometimes they don't, you know. Again, it's extra work. But I'd like you to think about that next time you look at a cat or a dog wagging their tail or flipping around. Think about it would be like to have to function where everyone has a tail. And you do too, but you don't naturally know how they work. And that's the insight I got from the fiction I was writing. Thank you. I was holding my tail okay, right?
Thank you very much, Dow.
Be careful when you sit down.